As uproar over anti-Semitism in American elite colleges raises, what really is the value of an Ivy League degree? What is the value of an Ivy League degree? So basically, you have the three presidents of MIT, MIT, Harvard, and UPenn. They were grilled before Congress over the rising anti-Semitism in American elite colleges. And of course, the president of UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, the president of UPenn, Liz McGill, resigned as a result, and of course there was pressure for the president of Harvard, Claudine Gay, also to resign, as well as the president of MIT. You had the New York Congresswoman, Republican Stefanik, saying in a tweet, basically on X, formerly Twitter, saying one down, two to go. But of course, faculty members have come out. Faculty professors at Harvard have, and I think also MIT, have come to the defense of their president, saying they will not cave in to pressure from lawmakers. They will not cave in to pressure from donors. So at least it appears that Harvard president Claudine Gay and the MIT president will retain their seat. So what is the value of an Ivy League degree? I think it signals, it is a signaling value. Basically, the value of an IT degree, of an Ivy League degree, is in its brand recognition. So when you say you went to Harvard, everyone assumes you are smart. That's a given. When you say you went to Harvard as a job recruiter or someone interacting with someone, they will assume that you are a super genius, because to go to Harvard, you must have topped not only your school, but also maybe your state. You must have been the top students in your state, or if an international student, one of the top students in your country. So you can imagine, not just anyone goes to Harvard, not just anyone goes to MIT, not just anyone goes to UPenn. And maybe that's the value, that basically it's a signaling, it signals that basically you are smart, and basically you are even a genius. And I think that's why so many bright students desire to go to these Ivy League institutions. But in the wake of the uproar over rising anti-Semitism, a group of Harvard students signed a letter immediately after the Hamas attacks on Israel. A group of Harvard student groups signed a letter blaming Israel for the Hamas attacks. Of course, there was uproar. The next day, there was a lorry that came, there was a truck that passed through Harvard, naming Harvard most anti-Semitic students. There was a lorry that passed through the Harvard campus, naming Harvard's most anti-Semitic students. So that's just shows you that basically Harvard then has lost some of its brand recognition. And I think what Harvard does for employers is to sift through the many applicants. And so employers don't need to do that much. Employers really just need to know that you went to Harvard, and maybe then the transcript, maybe you have minuses, at least a B plus or A minuses, and they will recruit you, especially for those in consulting and high finance. So I think it signals that basically you are great at, you are smart at least, but also that basically you have been indoctrinated into some kind of aristocracy. And I think these elite Ivy League colleges, they provide first of all education. What you learn in quantum physics is no different from, let's say, Harvard, is no different from what you learn say at Michigan State University. They are the same. Quantum physics is quantum physics. Literature by maybe Shakespeare is the same whether you learn it at Harvard or at Michigan State University or at Penn State University. But the difference is that is in the social experiment, where now you meet more people. And I think people say the value of a Harvard degree is not in class, it is in the connections that you make, that basically you are going to learn with future presidents, future presidents, future CEOs of big corporations, future billionaires. And I think that's the value of an Ivy League degree, that it is in the connections and not really in what the grades you get in class. So of course it is important that you're going to learn some academics. Maybe you're going to study, you are going to major in anthropology, sociology, history, or maybe even physics. But then that is not the real value of an Ivy League education. The real value of an Ivy League education is in the connections you are going to make with this feature. I think you hear students maybe in the next room just selling maybe having plans to launch a startup, and so that rubs off on you. So you also say, I should have maybe done something better. And of course, you have this they call the imposter syndrome. So the imposter syndrome at Harvard or at MIT or at Yale or at Princeton or at Stanford, basically the imposter syndrome is you look at your colleagues, they are doing marvelous things while students, but you have not gotten traction on any activity at all. And so maybe imagine, maybe I faked my way to Harvard. I really did not deserve this spot. So that is the imposter syndrome that is prevalent among so many Ivy League students, because you are surrounded in high school. You are the top of your class. You are the best. You are the class president. You are the top in everything, and maybe that's why you are picked by Harvard. But then you come to college. Everyone did those things in high school. They all scored maybe 1500 or 1550 in the SAT. They all were 4.0 GPA. They all scored 4.0 GPA, and of course they were the top of their class. So that is a given. So from every student you expect they were the top of their school or the top of their state, or maybe if international, the top of their country. But then you come to Harvard, you come to Yale, you come to MIT, then you find that it is not only you. Everyone was top in their school, and so even in their state, and so then you begin to imagine, maybe I was not qualified to come here in the first place. So that's what they call the imposter syndrome, and I think it is prevalent. Maybe it makes you have so lower self-esteem in yourself, and I think a lot of students go to the college counselor saying that basically they experience instances of imposter syndrome, and so they imagine that they were not the ones to maybe they did not deserve. And students who have worked in the admissions office, maybe like Ed Magema, a Kenyan who went to MIT and Harvard, and I think wrote a book, How to Get into Harvard. So students such as Ed Magema say they worked in the admissions office during their free time, and they say those who were rejected were as stellar as those who were accepted. And Harvard has always maintained that it could fill 2 or 3 classes with students that were rejected. They are just as good, but maybe Harvard does not just have the capacity to admit all applicants, and maybe that is why those who worked in the admissions office say they really did not see any difference between those who were rejected by Harvard and those who were accepted. So I think right now that signals to you that Harvard could fill 2 or 3 classes with the rejected students. But now that the shine of the Ivy League degree is coming under scrutiny after the rise of anti-Semitism in these campuses, the value of the Ivy League degree is coming under scrutiny, and maybe that is why they need to re-examine what is their mission, what is their purpose. And I think the students, I think many Americans blame the Ivy League students. They gave us Barack Obama, they gave us George W. Bush, who initiated the war in Iraq. They gave us the financial crisis. These Ivy League colleges gave us the financial crisis of 2008 by people such as Ken Lay. So I think they have to question. Americans, many Americans are questioning the value of an Ivy League degree, that they are the problem with America. And maybe that is why those who did not go to college support Donald Trump in any way, because they see him as coming to reform America from the mess that has been created by this aristocracy from the Ivy League institutions. And of course, you can expect that Donald Trump will make a very formidable run in the 2024 elections. So I think the value of an Ivy League degree, they must not veer into politics, and they need to concentrate on their mission, that is training talent at all levels. So I don't think it will have much of an impact. I think people will forget after some time. But then Ivy League colleges, they should be marketing America's soft power, that it attracts the best and brightest from anywhere in the world these students can be, or faculty can be, or professors can be, because they have huge endowments. Harvard alone has an endowment of about $50 billion, and I think Yale follows closely at about $40 billion. Then MIT, I think at 35, UPenn at about $22 billion. So these are huge endowments, and I think this is money that is going to be bequeathed to future generations to train the next generation of scientists, the next generation of business leaders, the next generation of research leaders. And I think they should. They should hold their mission dear to them, so that these colleges can attract the best and brightest from across the world, and not just teach them about academics, but how to be better human beings. And I think that is the value of an Ivy League degree should not just be in the social experiment that will form the next aristocracy of America, but it should be that I'm going to make an impact in the world. And I think I am going to make an impact in the world, and an Ivy League education will ensure that I do just that. So I think that's the real value of an Ivy League education. So what do you think is the real value of an Ivy League education? So bye for now, till the next episode. Bye for now.